Val Williams. Rounding out your field, Craig Bowler in the 50J, the 1 of Don Goodrich, the 47 of Todd Wilkinson, and the 99 of Jeremy Matthews. As starter Matt Higgins on the flag tower looks him over. Green flag flies. The Rupp Rental modified main event of the evening is underway. Field charging up into turn number 1. Chris Moore trying to take that early lead. Right alongside is Gary Waters. They're neck and neck off of turn number 2. Waters going to get the advantage down the back straightaway. Gary Waters takes the lead. Chris Moore in the number 2 spot, pulls in right behind. Then it's J.R. Hefner there for third. They battle through turn number 4. Coming around here to complete lap number 1 with Gary Waters on the lead in. A scramble here, problem off of turn 4. Cars spinning and together here at the head of the front straightaway. And 2 cars come to a standstill here at the head of the front straightaway, bringing out caution number 1. First, having you start deep on the grid here in the main event tonight. Red lights have been turned off around the speedway. Pace car diving in off of turn number 4. Coming down to your starter, Matt Higgins. He looks him over carefully here. Green flag in hand. It flies and we're underway. Gary Waters on the lead end. The Mags are us ignitions. Garrity Asphalt reclaiming number 93 on the point. Chris Moore trying to take that lead away. Here he does it off of turn 2. Chris Moore, your new leader down the back straightaway. Gary Waters coming right with him, a 2-car breakaway. Rob Pitcher in the number 3 spot. Maynard Ferret charging hard up in the inside lane. J.R. Hefner up on the top side. They're wheel to wheel off of turn 4. Here charging into the front straightaway now. Bobby Albert looking up to the top side of Maynard Ferret. J.R. Hefner's got that 4th place spot. Ferret runs in 5th. Now Eddie Marshall will take over 6th place. Guy Sheldon up to 7th. Russ Blair in 8th. Kenny Tremont 9th. And Brett Hearn cracks the top 10. Bobby Albert drifts out of the top 10. He's back there 11th spot. Will try to come back on the inside of Brett Hearn. Your leader here in the front straightaway up into turn 1 is Chris Moore. Chris Moore on the point with Gary Waters in the number 2 spot. Robbie Pitcher there 3rd. J.R. Hefner 4th. Now race for 5th place between Maynard Ferret and Eddie Marshall. Ferret on the charge in the back straightaway. He's showing a lot of speed in the early going here with that Queens Machine 78M. Maynard Ferret, the hard charging veteran, running in the number 5 spot now. Swapping lanes, moves to the inside of J.R. Hefner entering turn 1. Trying to get that wheel down underneath. Meanwhile, Eddie Marshall will kick it up to the top side. He gets a run going off of turn number 2 down that back straightaway. Here comes Ferret. Maynard Ferret charging down underneath J.R. Hefner. Eddie Marshall will follow him through. They both make the pass. Problems up on the east end, banking 2 cars involved up there. That brings out the caution one more time here in this Rupp Rental main event. Caution coming out. Cars together up there in the east end.
Well, 2 cars involved up here between turn 1 and 2. The first car to pull over.
Spitzy's Harley Davidson S-Car. Russ Blair, the number 12 EJP construction car, the Jersey Jet. The Budweiser King of Beers, Auto Palace number 3, Brett Hearn into the top 10 here. So that's how they set, ready for this restart. Matt Higgins ready to let him rock and roll. Here we go. Chris Moore ready to go to work. Here's Gary Waters testing him right along the inside. And now Maynard Ferret run off of turn number 2. He takes 3rd place away. Goes after Gary Waters in the back straightaway. Big crash in the back straightaway. Several cars involved. Looks like a 6-car, 7-car. Keep an eye on here. Looks like he is very fast tonight. Team going forward, Thunderbird pace car up in turn number 4, coming in, sailing in off that corner. It's now in the hands of your starter, Matt Higgins. Chris Moore, your leader, with the 10 car. Ready to go back to work with Gary Waters right alongside for this restart. Up into turn number 1, they charge. Chris Moore and Gary Waters stay that way, glued together side to side. Now Moore with an advantage off of turn 2. He takes that lead. Gary Waters in a number 2 spot. Close quarters racing, midway back in the park, the 3 wide there. Meanwhile, Eddie Marshall has gained a number 3 spot. Kenny Tremont has gained the number 4 position, and they've shuffled Maynard Ferret back to the number 5 running position. Rob Pitcher back in 6th. Guy Sheldon in 7th. J.R. Hefner in 8th. Rich Rickey has gotten around Brett Hearn. He's in 9th. Brett Hearn follows him, and Bobby Albert now moving past Brett Hearn in the back straightaway. Bobby Albert takes the long way around the Jersey Jet in a pass for position. Meanwhile, spin up in turn 1. We're going to go yellow here one more time. Caution coming out. Caution coming out on the speedway for the car spinning up in turn number 1. With 6 laps now showing complete. Brian Bedell, Basic Book of Lebanon Valley Facts. And Kenny Tremont has dominated this night here in the history of auto racing in the 1990s. This week in history at Lebanon Valley has been won by Kenny Tremont more than anybody else here in the 1990s as we go back to work. Green flag coming back out. And it's Chris Moore, Gary Waters, and now Kenny Tremont there in the number 3 spot off of turn number 2. Tremont charging to the lead. Your lead in with the 10 of Chris Moore, Gary Waters. Now Tremont will dive to the inside here. 3 wide racing midway back in the pack. A bumps of daisy going on. Everybody hanging on. Guy Sheldon with a problem as he slows to the top side of turn 4 with the S-Car. A problem with the Saxton side. Spitzy's Harley-Davidson S-Car as he rolls slowly here in the front straightaway. Meanwhile, Chris Moore on the lead end. Racing, dueling for the number 2 position, Kenny Tremont and Gary Waters. Waters in a number 2 position, fighting off the challenge, the bid here from the 115 of Tremont. Tremont will dive to the inside. They'll go wheel to wheel. Tremont and Waters off of turn number 2. Gary Waters hanging tough in that number 2 running position here. And that tight racing action allowing Chris Moore to open up some ground. Moore starting to pull away with the 10 car out of Pound Ridge, New York. Gary Waters in that number 2 position. And we've got a problem up in turn 1. 2 cars collected together up in turn 1, bringing out yellow flag one more time.
Two cars involved up here in turn 1. Once again, the Goodrich Motorsports number 1 of Don Goodrich III. The other driver involved up here, the 47 of Todd Wilkinson.
Their intense spot. And who knows, maybe the track's starting to come around to Billy Decker's setup here tonight as he bides his time, works his way towards the front. Chris Moore coming down to a start here once again with 10 laps in this Rupp Rental feature. Up into turn 1. Chris Moore up, get a little bit of contact there as Kenny Tremont works down underneath Gary Waters. Tremont now up into the number 2 running position. Hang on, contact in the back straightaway. Donnie Corellis coming down to the inside. He'll get stopped down in the inside retaining wall, and we'll go yellow one more time. So now has climbed and worked his way up into the top 5 with the 55 car. Rob Bircher, Brett Hearn, Bobby Albert, Billy Decker, Russ Blair. All ready to rock and roll here with 10 laps in, 20 to go. Back to your starter, Matt Higgins. Green flag is out. We're back to it in this Rupp Rental main event. Up into turn 1, hang on, Chris Moore, Kenny Tremont right at the head of the field. Tremont working from that inside lane, tries to get a run going down the back straightaway, pulls it back in line single file fashion. Now he'll zip to the inside up into turn 3, and caution again, 2 cars together off of turn 2 at the entrance to the back straightaway, and we go yellow one more time.
So yellow lights come out on the speedway for 2 cars involved off of turn 2. Donnie Ackner's woes continue.
So Chris Moore ready to go back to work one more time, driving the Ray's Auto Body, Gopin Optical, Dixon's Auto Parts, Williams and Kingsley sponsored Troyer chassis car. Chris Moore really pumped up before tonight's modified main event. He looks pumped right now here at the head of the field. That's for darn sure as we go back to Racing Green. Touching going on down the front straightaway on that restart, but some masterful driving turned in. Everybody doing a great job. We stay Racing Green going on the back straightaway with Chris Moore in command. Kenny Tremont up to test him now up in turn number 4. Here comes Tremont charging off of turn 4 into the front straightaway. Tremont runs second. Eddie Marshall in third. Gary Waters 4th. Rich Ricky in number 5 position. Bobby Albert up to the 6th place spot now. Billy Decker shows in 7th. Rob Pitcher in 8th, Brett Hearn 9th, and Russ Blair completing the top 10. Lead cars run single file fashion off through the west end. Off of turn 4 here in the front straightaway, Chris Moore in command of this one. He's pulled out to a 4-car length lead over second place man Kenny Tremont. Tremont running alone in the number 2 spot, tries to get a run going down the back straightaway. Eddie Marshall in third. Here's a bid for 4th from Rich Ricky. Rich Ricky up, pressing the 93 of Gary Waters. Waters driving the Mags Aeros Ignitions. Garrity Asphalt Reclaiming. Lebanon Springs Excavating car 93. And he charges up into turn number 1. But here's Rich Ricky pulling right alongside in turn 2. Ricky down to the inside lane. Waters on the outside. They're wheel to wheel. Nerf bar to Nerf bar. And then back straightaway up into turn 3. Now Rich Ricky going to make the pass down underneath. And Rich Ricky Jr. out of Nassau, out of New Paltz that is, has taken over the number 4 running spot. Rich Ricky Jr., a fall fitting steel fabricating 55 car, has taken over the number 4 spot. A problem here in the front straightaway. The Z1 of Robbie Pitcher getting down into the Jersey barriers. Doing a complete evening here in this modified main event. And Chris Moore, again, this must seem like an eternity for him, all these restarts. Not yet to the halfway point here, so another double file restart. Chris Moore, Kenny Tremont right alongside. Here we go, back to it. Chris Moore, Kenny Tremont. Now Rich Ricky is right there alongside of Eddie Marshall. And they're wheel to wheel up into turn number 1 and 2. Through turn 2, down that back straightaway. Marshall on the inside. Rich Ricky gets that run going on the outside. He makes the pass. Rich Ricky on the charge here up in the number 3 spot. He's going after Kenny Tremont next. Your leader continues to be Chris Moore with the Ray's Auto Body car number 10 out of Pound Ridge, New York. Chris Moore showing the way. Kenny Tremont on the number 2 spot, hanging tough in the number 2 position there with Rich Ricky bearing down on him. Eddie Marshall in 4th. Billy Decker has cracked the top 5 with the Adam Ross Cut Stone Quality Hardwoods 91. Billy Decker on his way to the front. Billy Decker running the number 5th spot now. The Franklin Flyer closes in on the rear deck of the 98 of Eddie Marshall. All these yellow flags playing into the hand of Billy Decker as he makes a bid for that 4th place running spot from Eddie Marshall. Can't quite make the pass there in the back straightaway as Marshall tries to fight him off. Meanwhile, directly ahead of them, the 2-car fight for the 2nd place race. It's Kenny Tremont still there in 2nd, and Rich Ricky now swapping lanes as he takes a look down low, pulls it back in line. Now try again to the inside, down in turn 2. Rich Ricky, a lower line to the corner. Look at that bite. He gets down deep. And it's Rich Ricky pulling right alongside of Kenny Tremont. And Billy Decker doing the same on Eddie Marshall. They're wheel to wheel off of turn 4. Here in the front straightaway, Kenny Tremont fights off Rich Ricky. And Tremont into number 2 spot. Rich Ricky, a serious big-time bid in his war with Kenny Tremont. But again, put back in 3rd spot. Billy Decker, in the meantime, has gotten around Eddie Marshall. And now Decker is up to your 4th place spot. Billy Decker rides in 4th. Eddie Marshall back to 5th. Gary Waters races in 6th. Got smoke coming from the 99 of Dickie Larkin as he marches his way towards the front. The Rathbuns Village Variety 99 showing smoke here as he charges down the inside lane on the Gary Waters 93 in the back straightaway. Up in front continues to be Chris Moore in the Rays Auto Body Gopin Optical 10 car, showing the way. He's opened up a comfortable advantage over second place man Kenny Tremont. And again, Rich Ricky coming to him. Ricky looking down on the inside, can't quite do it there, pulls it back in line in the back straightaway. Up in at turn number 3, they fly. Caution on the speedway. Yellow coming out here one more time, 2/3 of the way through this main event of the evening for the modified division. 20 laps are in, 10 remain here in tonight's Rupp Rental modified feature.
On the right rear of that car, right rear tire down on Larkins, number 99. That's the reason for the caution here on lap 20 of 30.
So a tough night for Don Ackner after the first 2 weeks of the season. Don Ackner produced top 5 performances with that new Baldwin Masonry TO Pro car. But tonight, he certainly rearranged the sheet metal a bit and been involved in several incidents, unfortunately, out here for the 97 of Don Ackner, the veteran campaigner from West End Lake, New York. So tonight is not his night, certainly, as he brings it in. Looks like he'll be retired for the evening. Meanwhile, a pit stop, tire change made on the Rathbones Village Variety 99 for Dickie Larkin, and he'll give it a go again from the rear of the field here. 20 are in, 10 remain. Chris Moore has been there from the start of this one. He suffered through all the restarts so far, and then this is start number 9 that Chris Moore will see as we go to green flag racing. Chris Moore, Kenny Tremont, Rich Ricky there, Billy Decker in the number 4 spot gets a run off of turn 2 going as Billy Decker tries to close in on Rich Ricky in that race for 3rd place. Eddie Marshall right there as well in the 5th place running spot. Now Decker has taken it to the top side. That was the fast way around that worked so well for him 1 week ago on his way to victory here last Saturday night. Chris Moore right in the middle of the groove, up through the east end banking. Decker way high. That's going to lose him a position, but he does get a run going off the corner down that back straightaway. Gets a good head of steam going back at the 98 of Eddie Marshall. They'll go side to side, entering turn 3. Decker down on the inside lane. Eddie Marshall up to the top side as Decker's trying to find a place where that 91's going to work the best for him. Up in front, Chris Moore continues on the lead end here. Kenny Tremont there still for 2nd. Rich Ricky in 3rd. Eddie Marshall 4th. And Billy Decker racing hard for the number 4 spot. Car spinning up in turn 2. Going to bring out the yellow flag one more time. Caution flag coming out for the 9th time here tonight.
To green this time around.
Green coming back out with 8 laps left to go, and Chris Moore goes to work at the head of the field. Rich Ricky mounting that bid for the number 2 spot. Eddie Marshall, Billy Decker all right there in positions 1 through 5. In 6th spot is Gary Waters. Brett Hearn races in 7th. Side-to-side race for 8th place here between J.R. Hefner's 14, Mike Benson's 33 car. They come charging off of turn 4 here into the front straightaway. Chris Moore continues to lead. Kenny Tremont in that number 2 spot. Rich Ricky, Eddie Marshall closing in. 3 cars together there, nose to tail, entering turn 3. Then it's Billy Decker riding in spot number 5. Gary Waters back in 6th. Brett Hearn in 7th. Mike Benson, good performance there with the Benson's Restaurants car number 33. Mike Benson running hard here with Brett Hearn, J.R. Hefner. Your leader, Chris Moore, down that back straightaway, once again opens up ground over 2nd place man Kenny Tremont. Tremont with the Fane Concrete S&S Asphalt Paving car runs in the number 2 spot. The Sam Lake Slingshot there, fighting off the bid from the Fall Fitting Steel Fabricating 55 of Rich Ricky Jr. Rich Ricky hanging tough with Kenny Tremont that race for 2nd spot. Eddie Marshall has dropped back a bit into the number 4 position. And Billy Decker in 5th, car looping it up in turn 2. It's the 43 of Scott Dickey. Scott Dickey, the Never Say Die racing team entry out of Upper Saddle River, New Jersey. And Scott Dickey gets the car headed in the wrong direction up there on the top side of turn 2. So with 4 laps remaining, caution comes out for the 10th time. A serious bid for the lead from Kenny Tremont, or from Chris Moore, I should say, as Kenny Tremont runs in that number 2 spot with Rich Rickey in 3rd, Eddie Marshall in 4th, and Billy Decker in 5th. Back to green, one more time. 26 laps are in, 4 remain. Chris Moore, Kenny Tremont, Rich Rickey charge up into turn 1. Here's Tremont pulling right alongside, ready to pull out the stops now, trying to get that bid away. Tremont will pull back in line down that back straightaway. Rich Rickey in number 3 position. He's right there with the front 2 lead cars. Let's see if anybody's got anything left here at the end for Chris Moore. Moore continues on the point. Now in the final few circuits here, 27 are in, 3 laps remain. No change amongst the front 5 as Chris Moore, Kenny Tremont, Rich Rickey, Eddie Marshall, and Billy Decker running those positions 1 through 5. Now it's Brett Hearn up in the number 6 position. The Jersey Jet with a Budweiser car, number 3, runs there in 6th. Gary Waters in the number 7 spot. Mike Benson in 8th. J.R. Hefner in 9th. And Bobby Albert unofficially completing a top 10. 2 lap to go sign has been given to the field. This time by, they'll see the white flag. 1 more lap around for Chris Moore out of Pound Ridge, New York. Ready to lead them all here tonight. And Chris Moore ready to bring it on home in his final circuit. He continues to pull away from Kenny Tremont in the number 2 spot. 2 more left-hand turns up in the west end banking. Off of turn 3 through turn 4, down here into the front straightaway. Checkered flag is out, and Chris Moore does it. Chris Moore picks up the Rupp Rental modified main event victory. Kenny Tremont would finish 2nd with Rich Rickey 3rd, Eddie Marshall 4th, and Billy Decker completing a top 5. So Chris Moore getting the job done, a hard-fought victory. Many, many challenges coming his way, but it's Chris Moore with the Ray's Auto Body, Gopin Optical, Dixon's Auto Parts, Williams and Kingsley sponsored Troyer car in victory lane here tonight. This Rupp Rental modified main event. All race fans, we're down here in Victory Lane with this Ray's Auto Body, Gopin Optical, Dixon's Auto Parts car number 10. And this driver unstrapping down in the cockpit of the car, climbing out now. How about a big round of applause? Tonight's Rupp Rental modified winner, Chris Moore. A cool night here in the valley, threatening skies. Some persistent sprinkles along the way, but another hot modified feature turned in. Congratulations, Chris, on an impressive victory out here on the high banks of the super fast Lebanon Valley Speedway tonight in this Rupp Rental feature.
Thank you very much, John. Our team's a little bit behind on cash this year, so, we need to run up front to be able to come back week after week, and our team really needed that. So it was a great run for Moore Brothers Racing and my family of sponsors.
We had a chance to chat a little bit before the races tonight, and I mentioned a little bit earlier that you had this certain cool, calm, kind of a confident feel before the race tonight.
Yeah, I did. I was actually pretty confident we were all going to be going home early, but I've won in the conditions like this before. However, last week I was pretty timid about it. I started towards the back, and when the track's slippery and stuff like that, it's pretty dangerous. And tonight we had the advantage of starting up front. But I'll tell you, when I didn't see Gary Waters alongside me anymore, and I saw Kenny next to me, I said to myself, I really knew I had my hands full there, and we had a car fast enough to hold them off under the green flag, but on the starts are a tough deal, and we were fortunate enough to hold them off. But anytime you beat Kenny Tremont here, you've done a great job.
You had some great restarts there. You had a lot of them, that's for darn sure, with Gary Waters and then Kenny Tremont alongside, and they both gave you some serious competition.
Yeah, they definitely did. Tonight, in the past, the bottom's been good where you could race with a guy, but tonight the advantage was definitely on the top. So I was fortunate enough to have that, and it worked our way.
All right, well, congratulations. Win number 1. You were 11th in points coming into tonight's show. This pushes you up quite a bit. Maybe we'll see some big sponsorship in that right rear quarter panel here real soon.
I sure do hope so. I'd just like to thank my crew for sticking behind me here. Like I say, money's tight in the garage there, and they're all right behind me 110%. And, my crew chief, Dennis Lamke's taking taking care of 2 cars, and he's doing an awesome job. And I can't thank all those guys enough, but I'd really like to dedicate this one to my new wife, Linda.
All right, well, once again, congratulations. Before we let you get away, we do have our Lebanon Valley Fan Appreciation Award here, thanks to Busch Beer and Big A Auto Parts. If you'd reach down in there, and everybody who voted for your starting positions in the running, let's see what kind of a name we've got here. Handwriting is always a trick. Is it easy tonight?
Yep, Sherry Wetmiller.
From West Sand Lake, congratulations, Chris Moore.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
There's Chris Moore, race fans, out of Pound Ridge, New York now. And Chris Moore brings the Ray's Auto Body Gopin Opticals Dixon's Auto Parts car into victory lane for the first time in 1997. And we're looking for Sherry Wetmiller out of West Sand Lake, New York. Sherry, you just won a prize package from Busch Beer and Big A Auto Parts. It is a fan appreciation prize package consisting of a racing hat, racing t-shirt, racing jacket, and a couple cases of Busch Beer. You can claim that up in the VIP tower here. Our sponsors, Corporate Suites, in suite number 4. Just see Howard Potter or Rich Sheehan once victory lane celebrations are concluded down here trackside. So with that, we'll wrap it up from down here trackside. Dan, we've still got a couple of features to go here tonight, and a big program of racing next Saturday as well.
Well, 2 more features to go, as John just said, and next up will be the Street Stock feature event, as the Victory Lane accolades continue down here in Victory Lane for Chris Moore and the Moore Brothers Racing Team. Rupp Rental representatives making their way in for the photo shoot now. You ready, Freddie? You would finish third.